Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and I have an FAQ video here for you guys where we're going to cover a couple of topics that you guys saw in the title cards. We're going to get into that. Before we do, I want to take a moment and thank my channel members. Here you guys go. Thank you so much, you guys, for your continued support of this channel. Again, shameless plug here, guys, that if you want to join the channel memberships, link in the video description down below. It's linked in every single one, so you can find it anywhere. Again, shameless plug. I really appreciate your guys' continued support of this channel. I would not be creating content on YouTube if it wasn't for everyone here. So if channel membership's not your thing, make sure you at least subscribe, like, and leave comments. Let's get into our video, and let's talk about some of the news we got going on here. So we got Old Rex, which I'm going to pop open on the screen here now. So we did get Old Rex here. I'm not going to go into his whole kit. I just want to cover some big things that are happening here. So Rex's kit, if we look on here, I just want to make sure you guys can see the full thing. So his full tags here: Clone Trooper, Phoenix, Rebel, Rebel Fighter. Now, I'm not going to go into all the details, right? But I just was reading through his kit, and there's nothing that screams Rebel Fighter, right? When you look here, seeing Clone Trooper, Phoenix Ally. When we look down here, Clone Trooper, Phoenix Ally. When we're looking down here, Clone Trooper, Phoenix Allies. You know, when we're even looking in some of this stuff, right? Clone or Phoenix. There's no mention of, if all allies are Phoenix, and then this one when all allies are Clone Troopers. So there's no mention of Rebel Fighters. Yet he has this Rebel Fighter tag. And in my experience with this game, Capital Games does not do stuff lightly like that, right? They don't just give out that Rebel Fighter tag, because you look at the Rebel Fighters. I want to show this. This is important. Rebel Fighters, Phoenix are not Rebel Fighters, right? You look in the Rebel Fighters here. There's no Phoenix. Phoenix is not part of the Rebel Fighter faction. They're their own thing, right? You look through, and it's, Rebel, but there's no Rebel Fighter. So his Rebel Fighter tag means something. I don't know what it is yet. We can speculate that he'll be part of the Galactic Legend, if it's Leia. But that Rebel Fighter is going to play a role somewhere, and we just don't know what it is yet. They didn't just throw that tag on there for kicks and giggles. And I'm going to show you, one more example, and then we're going to get into some more stuff here. But Jabba, right? Jabba does not have a scoundrel tag. And everybody wonders this, and they get surprised, like Hut Cartel Smuggler. But notice, there's nothing that says scoundrel in his kit, right? It's all about smugglers and Hut Cartel, right? That they specifically did not include scoundrel. And that's very, very important to understand. So, the joke is that you couldn't fit scoundrel here, which is, again, that's fine, right? But also, they don't just throw, they don't throw tags around without thinking about them, right? They gave Lord Vader this Sith tag, but, could be a similar thing with Lord Vader where he's got this Sith tag, but that his kit is all about Empire Dark Side. That could be the same thing with Rex, but he has that Sith tag for a reason, right? He is, so I'm curious to see if it's just like a Lord Vader situation, right? Where they gave him the Sith tag. It does make sense, right? That does make sense why they would give him that Sith tag because, you think of the Conquest situation, right? Where Jedi, Sith, unaligned Force users. Well, if he's just leader Empire, okay, we need to give him the Sith tag. So that Rebel Fighter is going to play a role for something, and we don't know what yet. So I just want to make that known, right? That I think it's going to play a factor, that it's going to do something for Rex. Obviously, he's not in the game yet, but I did want to mention that. So I did want to talk about this daily deal that I had in here. So this Jawa daily deal, and I want to just break this down for everybody a little bit, that this is the greatest daily deal I've ever seen, and I'm going to explain why. So it's 3,200 crystals for all of these resources. So what we're going to do first, right, is I got to go down to my signal data here, and we're going to scroll all the way down, right? I just want to show you guys how absurd this daily deal is, right? So I want to start with the signal data, right? It's 100 blue signal data. That's the main piece here. So this signal data, you can tell that I've already bought both of these things. I've already bought 100 blue signal data in my weekly shipments. And this comes in, you guys can believe me later, you can check it in your own thing. These cost 1,500 signal data, or 1,500 crystals each. So 3,000 crystals gets me 100 signal data, right? So if we go back to this pack, 3,200 crystals gets me 100 blue signal data. Okay, so 200 more crystals for, the same amount of signal data. But there was Kyratex in there, right? So if we go to Kyratex here, And again, I'm just going to click on somebody who needs Kyratex because this is going to be easier. If we go to Kyratex, 700 Kyratex is, or 25 Kyratex is 700 crystals. So now, this pack went from a value of 3,000 to now 3,700 because of Kyratex on here. Again, going shipment cost. For the white and green signal data here, right, for these two signal data pieces, I'm just going to call each of these about 100, right? That's what I would pay for them in the cantina. I don't really buy these from shipments ever, so I'm going to call these about 100 crystals each. That's about the average pull you'll get, maybe a little bit less, but if you call those 100 each, right, now you're at 3,900. We got a Gerda keypad and we got Zimbital cards. So again, not a lot of those pieces, but two and one, you're still getting some pieces there. So if we go to a character who would need something like that, let's go to my General Skywalker because he's going to need both. So a Gerda keypad, right, costs 250 crystals per piece, right? Per one piece is 250 crystals if you do the math. And a Zimbital card is valued at about 140 per piece, right? So again, that's crystal cost. Those are not, I'd say Zimbital cards, I would craft these, but this Gerda keypad for 250, that's not a terrible price, right? I've definitely bought those before. So I am 1000% buying this daily deal. I think this is so worth it, especially for how much blue signal data I need. So we are definitely buying that. I mean, this is the best one that I've ever seen in terms of total value that I'm getting. And this is the thing, right? I want to explain this, and this is kind of going to feed into my next topic about hoarding. So I was prepared to pay 3,000 crystals for 100 blue signal data. For 200 additional crystals, I'm going to get this stuff. Like, absolutely, right? So that's why I'm doing that. I'm trying to save myself time and get Leviathan. We're buying that one every day of the week. To me, that one's much more worth it, right, for what I need. Even like this one here, this isn't terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. The thing is, I don't need these as much as I need the blue signal data. That's why I bought the other one. So that pack, totally worth it. Gonna drain me from some crystals, but we're taking some measures to get through there. So the question that I saw a bunch of people asking was about my hoarding. And like, why, am I sitting here with enough gear to relic HK? Why am I sitting here with enough gear to relic Sith Assassin? Like, why do I have all these extra relic resources that I could take my Maul to relic 7? Like, why haven't I done it yet? Well, you got to understand my thought process, especially for where I am in the game. I'm looking at this from a perspective that right now, as it stands, Maul, Sith Empire Trooper, HK, Sith Assassin, none of them will substantially help my roster at the current time. None of them will really help me do anything. So I'm waiting to get Shorty, because I want to relic Shorty. I want to have the resources to get Shorty where Shorty needs to be for Leviathan before I even worry about anything else here. So by doing that, right, if I go and like relic these guys, I could be setting myself back that maybe I'd need to wait a little bit longer to get Shorty. And Shorty's going to benefit my account a lot more than these guys. Because what I'll do is I'll get Shorty and then I'll get HK and I'll kind of use them together. Even if the synergy isn't the greatest, it's better than nothing. But this is where I think a lot of players, where you have to understand the way I look at my resources. If Leviathan comes out right after Conquest, putting relics on these characters now is fine. But what if Leviathan is a week later or 2 weeks later, and in that time Grand Inquisitor drops? Maybe I'll be able to get Grand Inquisitor to a certain relic level and then still meet the Leviathan requirements in time. So I'm thinking through all the different pieces that I need and saying to myself that I want to make sure that I have the materials to give my account the boost that it needs and wants before I just go and do the stuff that isn't going to benefit me, right? Like HK, I'm not going to use HK for anything right now. So getting him to Relic 7 or keeping him at Gear 12 doesn't change how I would use this character. Same thing with Sith Assassin, right? It doesn't change. So when I'm hoarding, it's because I know that when Leviathan drops, whenever that thing drops, I'm going to take HK to Relic 7. I'll take Sith Assassin to Relic 5. Like, I'll have those resources saved up. They're planned for them. But if they say, hey, Leviathan isn't for another 3 weeks, but we're going to drop Grand Inquisitor today, I might start doing some mental gymnastics and figure out what relic level I could take, what gear level can I take Grand Inquisitor to, because Grand Inquisitor, if he drops today, I can unlock Scythe. So I'll want to throw some gear on him. because I could be able to use the scythe then and actually get some solid use out of that ship. So I don't know if that kind of explains my hoarding per se, right? Of like why I do that, but it's all about understanding that for your first Galactic Legend, any relic character is going to help your account, right? That if, for some reason Leviathan's going to be the first thing you start relicking, for whatever reason that you decided to wail on everything, right? A relic HK is going to help you, right? Like a relic HK would help you at that point because you don't have that many relics to go around. But where my account is, the position I'm in, a Relic 7 Maul versus a Relic 4 Maul doesn't help me. Because I don't even have Maul, I don't have a Maul Datacron that he can use, so he'd just kind of sit on my bench at Relic 7, tying up resources that I could use for something else in that meantime. So hopefully that explains a little bit of why I hoard, right? As a free-to-play, I think it's really important that you don't tie your resources up unnecessarily. Because things can change. Think about my Inquisitors. Had I gone and taken all these guys to Relic 7, I would be nowhere near Leviathan, and I still wouldn't be able to even attempt the Reva mission because I don't have Grand Inquisitor. So I only took the, the fat one to Relic 7 because I wanted to use her with Lord Vader at times. But that's kind of the reasoning, guys. That's why I hoard, is that I just, you don't want to tie up resources unnecessarily, and that's one of the big things that I think I do and benefits me in ways that I think some players maybe don't get that same benefit from. So, that's hoarding. That's my hoarding explained. Hopefully you guys enjoy this kind of video where I'm going through it, talking about this stuff. Let me know what your thoughts are. As always, smash that subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment. Again, I try to do these just to help you see inside of my brain a little bit. But I appreciate all your guys' continued support. And again, thank you to my channel members. You guys are all awesome. Gonna put them back up here on the screen one time. Thank you guys again. I love all you. May the force be with you. And I'll see everybody in the next video. Cheers.